If you've never moved to a new state, then it might surprise you how different things can be. In 2018, my family moved from Ohio to North Carolina, and I used to tell people it felt like we moved to a new country, not just a new state. Things were wildly different here. When planning a big move, it is so important that you research and have knowledge about the new area. My name is Kristen Rapoli, and I get calls and emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move to the Charlotte area. So, whether you're moving in a month or a year, be sure to reach out. I'd love to help you start your journey to Charlotte. In today's video, I'm going over the top 5 things I wish I knew before moving to Charlotte. All right, let's jump in. When you move, the last thing you want to do is find out you have to dish out unexpected money. Now, every state has different laws and taxes, and if you've never left your state before, you might not even think about that costing you anything extra. Enter the North Carolina vehicle property tax. When we went to the license plate office to get our Ohio license plates switched over to North Carolina license plates, we found out about it the hard way. The property tax is based on the value of your vehicle, and you don't get any advance notice or time to pay. So just keep that in mind. When you walk in, it could be a couple $100s per vehicle, depending on their value. Another side note here, make sure you make an appointment to go to the DMV because they have appointments booked out for weeks and sometimes even months, depending on the location. I posted the link to the North Carolina DMV down in the description below. Number 2 on my list are HOAs. Now, HOAs aren't strictly a Charlotte thing, but if you're moving here from an area where they're not as prevalent, it might be a real shock to you. For instance, my family moved from Northeast Ohio, and it was a small town, and we were definitely not used to HOAs at all. In fact, when we moved, that was my very first experience with an HOA. An HOA is a homeowners association, and because so much of the Charlotte area are recently developed subdivisions, HOAs are very, very common here. HOAs are essentially hyper-local forms of government, and if you're not used to it, you might really be surprised at the rules and regulations that are enforced. To make it even more complicated, each neighborhood or subdivision will have a completely unique situation. When buying a home in the Charlotte area, if you're moving into a subdivision or neighborhood, you'll want to make sure you look over a copy of their CC&Rs. This stands for covenants, conditions, and restrictions. There could be rules about parking on the street, what you can have in your yard, for instance, the type of trampoline or swing set or shed. There might be rules about the type of fence you're allowed to construct, or even the condition of your landscaping, among other things. Besides the rules, you're also required to pay them fees. And these fees can be paid, some are paid monthly, some are paid quarterly, some are paid annually. The amount of the fees varies greatly, and sometimes they will kind of correlate with what you get out of the neighborhood. For instance, in neighborhoods where the landscaping is covered by the HOA, you're going to pay more, or in neighborhoods where you have great amenities like a swimming pool or a playground or a fitness center, then you'll also pay more. If the HOA needs money to cover community expenses, such as new furniture for the clubhouse or new sidewalks need put in, they might charge special assessments. In addition, in some neighborhoods, if you're purchasing a home, the HOA might charge a capital contribution. These fees vary greatly from neighborhood to neighborhood. These are things you want to consider if you're moving to the Charlotte area. Third on my list are the streets. Now, generally speaking, when you see a big city on a map, you might see that the streets are set up in a grid pattern. So the streets go north to south and east to west, and it's pretty commonly seen. One article I read said that Charlotte has one of the most unusual street systems in the world. And here's why. Our city was founded in 1768 at the crossroads of 2 Native American trading paths, which ran northeast to southwest and northwest to southeast. The intersection, which forms an X, is now the center of the city, and because of that, the blocks look more like diamonds than squares. Besides that, the highways evolved out of proximity to our two major creeks, Irwin Creek and the Little Sugar Creek, while many other roads stem from the old farmers' routes. Basically, the small winding trails simply grew over time to the mishmash you see today. Plus, I 85 runs west to east at times and south to north at other times. And just for good measure, many of the streets don't even have streetlights, so it can be pretty dark when driving down those windy roads at night. Since driving in Charlotte is no picnic, let's talk about another mode of transportation. Walkscore.com ranks Charlotte as the 49th most walkable large city in the US, which is not great. This brings me to number 4 on my list. If you're used to biking or walking to get from point A to point B, consider locations like Uptown, Plaza Midwood, South End, or NODA. If you try to move anywhere else around the Charlotte area, you'll want to consider another mode of transportation. The good news? Progress is being made, and a group called Sustain Charlotte is working diligently to help Charlotte grow smarter. Check out the link in the description below to find out more about this 501c3 organization and how you can get involved. Of course, we all know that Charlotte is a growing city. Some experts estimate that between 100 and 150 people move here each and every day. Living in a growing city can be amazing, but there are also some side effects. This brings me to number 5 on my list. One of the side effects of rapid growth is that public school attendance maps are ever evolving. Nearly every school you see will have trailers on site to accommodate the growing population. Yet, in an effort to avoid overpopulation in certain schools and to try to keep things balanced, school attendance maps and school zones have to be reconfigured periodically. As with everything I've mentioned, research is key. If you need an education alternative, there are tons of private schools and charter schools in the Charlotte area. There you have it, the top 5 things I wish I knew before moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. If you moved to Charlotte from somewhere else, will you tell me in the comments below if I missed anything? What's on your list? If you found value in this video, can you do me a favor and share it with a friend or family member who might be thinking about moving to the Queen City? Thank you so much for watching. Bye.